Why not? Yes, why not? Why not take that opportunity when you still can? Why not upgrade? Why not network? Why not be open minded? Why not get out of your comfort zone? Why not be reliable? Why not try that thing that looks so impossible and say, you know what, I'm going to try it? Why not face that challenge that you think is impossible and slay that dragon, the dragon of fear, the dragon that tells you you are not good enough, you're not smart enough? Why not face it and deal with it as it comes? We are living in a very interesting time and age where data is everything. Data is the new gold mine. And opportunities for you to learn. Time like this is very important to understand the pros and cons of AI. It's time to understand cybersecurity. Time to understand data protection. And fourth, to look at the policies within your country or globally and see how to hold accountable so that you can make sure, if you're not in this world, that your data can be transferred to your family or your loved ones. Because at the end of the day, you don't want everything to be in the big tech. We take for granted freedom. We take for granted many things. But right now, it's important to grab every opportunity that you can. If you can walk, walk. Run, run. If you want to hike, hike. If you want to travel, travel. Start locally. Be a local tourist. Go through, look at your country, travel. Look at opportunities within your country. Travel, market it. Move to other countries within your region. And then now you can go internationally. Who knows? You can end up becoming an ambassador for traveling just out of your simple photos and videos. It doesn't have to be the most expensive phone you have. Why not to be someone good at civic education and you give information that could be able to be vital? Who knows? Out of that, you could get an opportunity. You really never know how far you will go until you give it a try. Nobody knows their potential until they take that one leap of faith. If you look at where we are, there are few cases going on and they're major messy cases. For example, right now, we are having cases where people have been arrested and locked up because of tax evasion. This is where the tricky part is. The individuals being arrested actually didn't tax evade. However, the information ended up in places and spaces whereby it shows that there was tax in compliance. What do I mean? A very good example, you just finished high school. Or primary, and let's say there were no finances. So anyway, eventually you turn 18, you have your ID card. A relative, a parent, a neighbor, someone asks for ID to help you get a job or ABCD. You're quite naive. So you give them your ID. And then they tell you, well, we didn't get the job. But remember, they made a copy of your ID. They don't need your original, they have your copy. So they go to their machines or cyber, wherever it may be, and open shell companies. They create their own KRA pin. Also for other countries, that would be your tax pin. And then once they use that, they can now do whatever dirty business. So when the tax regulator of the country is flagging, they think they are flagging you, but it's the other person they're supposed to flag. But because it is your ID number being used to do all those types of transactions, one day you're chilling wherever you are, you see policemen, tax people, they're there, you wonder what's going on, you're locked up, and yeah, many have been locked up. It's happening. Your parent may not even know they're doing it. They could be naively lied to by a church member, a friend, a relative. Oh, I have a job for your son or your daughter. And they give. That's something happening. How do we prevent that? To be very aware of cybersecurity, to be very aware about data protection, to be very aware about technology and how it can be convenient and used against us. 2 weeks ago, I was having this battle with one of the biggest telecommunication companies in our country, and it was one simple thing. I was receiving prompt messages to pay up for something I had no clue about. And so I took screenshots and I reached out to the company and I told them, hey, I'm seeing this happening. And they never. And the first thing they did, they tried to scare me off and told me, oh, it has to be ABCD. What they didn't know is I've dealt with most of these things before. So I pushed back, and I pushed and pushed, and eventually when I told them I'm releasing this to our people in our country, now I had, I think, 10 to 15 different people reached out to me in regards to the same company, until finally they folded. And I asked myself, if I didn't fight back and ask them specific questions, because they were telling me to reach out to their company. It was a betting company. I've never betted in my life. And I was wondering, why is my information in there? And I remember asking them, are you selling our data to third parties? So they gave me all this jargon of law. I told them, relax, law is my food. Explain to me why BCD. So eventually I was able, and that information I relayed on close people and even some journalists that I know. I told them, check this thing. The thing is, if you don't fight up and slay the dragon will slay you. Your data, your life, something you should never take for granted. Your freedom, don't take it for granted. You can walk and trade with someone in another county, state, or provision. Grab those opportunities when you still can. Because as politics becomes very messy, things can get to a point whereby you can't travel from one area to another. And if you look at where the world is going, only communities will survive. What do I mean? Close-knit communities. Doesn't mean they have the same race or tribe or religion, not really. Just people who have come together and decided to protect one another. And physically, that is. We also have digital communities. Because where we are going, things are getting messy. Very, very, very messy. We are seeing jobs, layoffs, right, left, and center. We are seeing people are giving up, and others are becoming very dangerous. Another thing I came to learn over time, and I remember I used to warn people, but I didn't have the whole information. Another way we lose our data, for example, is when we go to print. We're going to make photocopies, whether it's within a company, whether you're an employee, or whether it's just a cyber. You see these big, so-called sophisticated printers, or you put a code, yada, yada, yada. We keep never understanding that they all have hard drives. And those hard drives, once this, let's say if that machine has been running for long, it can reach a point after repair, they need to dispose of it. What they all, sadly many don't do, they never hard reset that hard disk, or they never ensure it's been hard reset, or within the contracts they sign, it's never done. That hard disk, remember, this company will sell it to another company. The company like that owns that type of printer, they know. They can choose to use that data to know what type of printers to create based on the data they can receive from the printer. You see all those sensitive documents, yeah, they can retrieve that. And it's so sad. And eventually, people have a blueprint of everything. And it can be sold 100 times. Your personal data can be. I remember I used to warn people, when you're taking a photocopy like your bank details, you never do the back side. You know, the expiry side, never do that. You only do the front side. Because when you put the back side, someone can use it to transact. So we need to be very careful and cautious. We can't be blind. Freedom is something you should never take for granted. Freedom to walk, to pray, to run, to trade, to interact, to stand up against impunity. Those are not things to take for granted. They are gold. Treasure them. Because in the time that we are living in, it's only getting worse. So why not learn a new thing? There are so many courses, there's so many webinars, there's so many seminars and conferences, free, that's paid, that can help you in every aspect of your life. Learn something new. Be aware of your surrounding. Be aware of what's going on within, around, locally, and even internationally. Because one way or another, it will come to affect you. Today is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. Your health isn't promised to be okay today. Right now, like in our country, we are seeing AIDS, the drug, the anti-AIDS, that one. It's almost out of the market. Many people are going to be infected. Some will choose to infect others. Be very careful. Love yourself enough to learn about anything and everything around you. because your ignorance comes at a high price. Don't be ignorant and end up losing everything. So why not learn something new? And why not protect yourself? When you still have the chance, when you still have the knowledge, do to the best of your capability.